This is covered option strategies for financial freedom. My earlier was only on covered option strategies. Now I have tagged along with the financial freedom. We will see whether these strategies can be useful for our financial freedom. This is my small introduction. So financial freedom, how? When we say ki covered strategies with financial freedom, let us see what is financial freedom first. Suppose you invest 10 lakh rupees today, assuming you are having 10 lakh and you want to invest that 10 lakh rupees. And if you are able to generate a return of 3% per annum in savings bank, most of us, we are keeping our money in the savings bank, and our return is assuming 3%. Savings bank or ICICI or HDFC or SBI, they all are giving 2.75 to 3%. So how much your investment will grow in 10 years? It will become 13.5 lakh without considering the taxes. That means if you have a 10 lakh today, if you put your money in the savings bank, it will become 13.5 lakh in 10 years. Now, if you are able to generate a return of 6% per annum in FDs, mostly the senior citizen or seniors or our parents, they used to keep the money in the FDs, and we also keeping the money in FD. Even I am also keeping some money in the FD. And if in FD the return is average 6%, then how much our investment will grow in 10 years? It will become 18.2 lakh without taxes. If we consider the taxes, then it will be somewhere around 15 to 16 lakh. So that means 10 lakh in 10 years in FDs will become 18.2 lakh without considering the taxes. Now just assume if you are able to generate a return of 2% per month for 10 years. I'm not talking about per annum. Per annum was 6%. Here I'm talking about if you can generate a return of 2% per month for 10 years. And how much your investment will grow in 10 years? 1.1 crore. See the jump from 18.2 lakhs, it become 1.1 crore if you are able to generate 2% return per month in 10 years. Now suppose you assume that this investment will grow in 20 years. How much it will become in 20 years? It will become 11.6 crore. 10 lakhs today, if you are able to grow at the rate of 2% per month, in a period of 10 years, it will become 1.1 crore. In a period of 20 years, it will become 11.6 crore, which may be enough for our financial freedom. Now let's compare. Now, wealthiest person in the world, we all know who is the wealthiest person. His CAGR for last 50 years is 21%. That is 1.75% per month. Every month he is earning on an average. By that, he has become the wealthiest person. 1.75%, and we are comparing here with 2%. You know the Sensex CAGR. But Sensex from 1980 to 2020, it has grown by 16.2%. And if you compare for last 10 years, that is 2010 to 2020, it is 15.6%. So it is not even your 1.5%. So the issue here is the money is always made slowly but consistently. That is the major issue. Now the problem with us is we want our money to become double or triple, maybe in a period of 1 month or maybe a period of 7 days. And that is the recipe for disaster. If you are going with a slowly for your money to grow and consistently, you can also become the wealthiest person. We'll see all this thing. So what is the ultimate key for financial freedom? Earn more, spend less, and invest more. Okay, earn more, as much as you can earn, spend less, and invest more. This is the key for financial freedom. You must have heard this tagline, Soch kar, samajh kar, invest kar. Can you remember from where this tagline is coming? This is by NSE. NSE, they are giving an advertisement on the TV on the investor education. So there it is a tagline: Soch kar, samajh kar, invest kar. Now, when we are making investment, there's a thought process. Everybody has a thought process. And the what thought process I'm going to discuss here is, this is applicable not only for me, but almost 99% of all of us. This thought process is going on. Maybe the 5 point, somebody for somebody it may be 5 points, somebody may for 10 points. Let's see what are those issues which come in our mind or psychology whenever we are making an investment, what we think. So that is, I just try to note it down. So let's see. Number one, why we invest? Mainly we invest for the 4 reasons. One is the life goals. Life goals can be your children education, your children marriage, your buying a house, or your retirement life. Second is inflation. We all know that every day the things are becoming costlier and costlier. So we go for investment if we can beat the inflation. The third is the mortality risk. The mortality risk is the meaning is the risk of dying early. So we are always worried about our family. If something happens to me, then what will happen to my family? So there is a mortality risk. So we invest. And the last 4 is the longevity risk. Now this is a new risk. Now with the new medical technology coming up, now the possibility of living is going higher and higher. Around 10 years back, our mortality, the risk of living was up to 60. It becomes 70. Now it is assumed that next 10 years, our probability of living is almost 85 years. And now we are retiring at the age of 60. So from 60 to 85, there are another 25 years. Now, do we have the enough corpus available which will take care of our investment, which will take care of all this our life? So that we have to decide. So that is one of the major reasons. Second is the 50% probability of profit or loss in equity. Whenever, so we are worried about all these things, so we invest. Now we invest in either equity or mutual fund. But when we are investing in equity or mutual fund, there is a 100%, only a 50% probability. Either the share will go up or share will go down. Either the mutual fund will go up or mutual fund will go down, exactly 50%. So if you are willing to take this bet, then go for equity, but the probability is 50%. So as a result, what is happening? Number of retail person is going for FDs, but FD, the return is very less. Return is hardly, as you see, 6%, and the post-tax will be 4%. And inflation, if it is 6% or 7%, that means we are eating our capital. Then when we are investing in equity, the profits are booked very early. And losses keep on mounting and eat away our all profit. Now suppose you have invested in 10 shares. Now in 10 shares, what will happen if you go by the average of probability, the probability theory, the 50% will grow and 50% will go down. So the 5 share has gone down and 5 share has gone up. So what is our tendency? We book our profit, wherever the profit is coming from the share, that we book the profit. And wherever the losses are happening, we are keeping those shares in our account. So as a result, what is happening over a period of time, so all the profit what we have booked, that is eaten by the losses. And our net return may be around 6%, 8% or 10% on an overall portfolio. Maybe one share may grow by 20%, one share may grow by 30%. But if you take the overall our portfolio, average return for an average investor will be around 8 to 20%, whether it's in mutual fund or in equity. So we are looking for a strategy which has a probability of profit at least 80 to 90%. Now, when I say 80 to 90%, that means if I am taking a 10 bets, 10 or out of the 10, if I am losing or earning in 1 lakh in everything, so even if I win 8 times, and even if I lose 2 times, at least that 8 lakh will take care of by the 2 lakhs. So I'm interested basically in that strategy which gives me the profit of at least 80 to 90%. That is the every investor thing. Now, the next issue comes, can I get a monthly rental in equity shares? Mutual funds like rent. When we buy a house, or when we invest in our real estate, we get a rental and appreciation also. Capital appreciation will come over a period of time and we get a rental also. Now, can we get a similar thing in our equity shares only? Because the problem is that real estate has become so risky, not only risky, and then so much of capital is required, you cannot manage. And particularly after the age of 60, it is very difficult to manage your real estate if you are having more than one house. If the house in which you are staying, then there's no issue. But if you have a 3-4 properties, and invariably in the working class, what they will do, they will buy one in their hometown, one in their where they are posted, and then when they are transferred, again they will buy one property. Now it becomes very difficult to manage those things. So if we invest in equity, can I get a monthly rent? Can I get a monthly return like I'm getting capital appreciation? That is one of the investment thought process. Now the next is ki, when I buying a share, now can I fix my profit target? Ki bhaiya, theek hai, today I bought an HPCL at the rate of say 200 or 250. Now can I fix my target ki that my 300, I will sell my share at the 300 as soon as well as I should get my monthly rental also. Is it possible or not? That's another thought process. Next is, can I buy the desired stock at a discount? Today HPCL is 225. Now I want to buy at 200 so that I have a safety margin, because I have seen during last 6 months, HPC is moving between 205 or maybe 200 to 240. So I want to have a safety margin. Now, can I have that strategy? Then I don't have a time to monitor a daily market. This is another problem, particularly with the working class. And even for those who are even retired also, they don't want to spend their time on the your trading terminal. So you say it's okay if I make a trade maybe once in a month or twice in a month is okay. But if somebody says ki you should track every day, it is simply not possible. Then so what is happening now? I'm scared to invest in equity due to high volatility. We have seen Corona time. Now we have seen the 50,000 index. Now everybody is worried ki when the market will fall and how much it will fall. So we all are worried. So then what is happening now? We are scared to invest in equity. So what is happening? We are putting our money in the saving bank. And saving bank, what is happening? I am earning 3% interest per annum. Now this is the second problem. Ki, invariably everybody has a huge portfolio because everybody is not investing in the gold or in the real estate, and now the public is switching over to mutual fund or maybe the equity. So there's a huge portfolio. A huge portfolio is there. So what we are getting from the portfolio? Annual dividend. Annual dividend will be around 3% if it is a PSU share. HPC, BPC, IOC, ONGC, REC, they are giving good dividend. But the capital appreciation is very less, or even on the sometimes it is negative only. And if you are going for a fundamentally very strong share like HDFC or Infosys, there the dividend will be 1.5 to 2%. So I am assuming that even the dividend only 3%. So I'm not happy with my mediocre return of 8 to 10% in equity in mutual fund. Then what should I do? So this is again one of the thought process. And even if this 8 to 10% is coming in equity in mutual fund, it is even less than 1% per month. It is not 12%. And we are targeting 2% as we've seen for the financial freedom slide. So this is another thing. क्या लगता है? ऊपर जाएगा क्या? Hunting for tips on WhatsApp, Telegram, and now the recent is the Signal. Everybody is asking, भाई क्या लगता है? Market ऊपर जाएगा क्या? And then we are trying to search, and because of this, the advantage is being taken by the operators. So I don't want to depend on the newsletter. I don't want to depend on business paper. I don't want to depend on the business channel. I don't want to show that I'm independent. I want to be independent. Now, I want such a strategy where no tips is required, no recommendation required. I am away from the operators. I'm away from the FIIs, the DIIs. I want such a strategies. If that strategy is available, then I'm happy. Then I can with the confidence I can make an investment because my probability should be high. I'm not dependent on anybody. Nobody can take me for granted, and I will not be guided by the TV anchors and all those things. Now this is another thing. If we see the today's scenario, the 95% of the retail money is eaten by the market, and who is controlling the market? Operators FIIs and DIIs. So this 95% money is where going? Who's taking the 95% money? Because ultimately the share market or equity market or a mutual fund market, it is a zero-sum game. Somebody is gaining, somebody is losing. Now, if 90% of 95% of the retail money is they are losing, then there has to be somebody who is gaining this money. So they are those 5%. And who is falling this 5%? Operators, FIIs and DIIs. So that was the investment thought process. Whenever I'm making an investment or whenever a retail investor is making an investment, he is going to the thought process. So now let's come to the what options are all about. A builder offers to sell a flat on 1st January in rupees 1 crore on 31st March, irrespective of price. I underline this 2 line, irrespective of price, if you pay rupees 2 lakh as non-refundable token money. Here, what are the 2 conditions? Irrespective of the price, whether the price after the 3 months is market price is maybe 1.25 crore or 75 lakh, builder has offered to sell the flat in 1 crore. Provided you are paying 2 lakh rupees as a non-refundable token money. If you don't take the flat, your 2 lakh will be forfeited. So that is the condition. Now on 31st March, can builder force you to buy the flat? No. Builder cannot force you to buy the flat. Can builder refuse to sell the flat? No, builder cannot refuse to sell the flat because he has agreed. He has taken the advance money from you, so he cannot refuse. Now, can you refuse to buy the flat? Yes, you can refuse to buy the flat, and if you see your flat prices has come down to 75 lakh, you will say, I will forfeit my 2 lakh rupees, and you will carry on your business or whatever you want to, whatever you are doing. So that means you have a right to refuse to buy the flat. Can you force builder to sell the flat? This is the 4th condition. Huh? Can you force builder to sell the flat? Yes, you can force the builder to sell the flat because you have paid 2 lakh rupees as a non-refundable fee in 1 crore. So who has a right to buy and who is obliged to sell? In this scenario, who has a right to buy? You have a right to buy. And who is obliged to sell? Builder is obliged to sell. Builder is not having the right. You have the right. Similarly, you are not obliged to carry out the transaction. So you have a right. If you want to continue, you can continue. If you don't want to continue, you can forfeit the deal. But the builder cannot. So you have a right to buy, but the builder is not. Builder is obliged to sell. So this is the concept of call option. Now we are coming to the second scenario. In the second scenario, assuming the current gold price is 47,000 rupees. We all know that right now the gold price is around 47,000, 48, assuming it is 47,000 rupees. Now you offer to sell your gold as a retail person. You offer to sell your gold to your non-jeweler in rupees 47,000 after 3 months. If you pay non-refundable token money of rupees 2,000 to him, irrespective of price after 3 months. It means that although you will say, I will sell the gold today itself, why I'll wait for 3 months? But we will see what is the thought process. So the deal is like this, you are paying 2,000 rupees as a token money to the jeweler, and you are taking a guarantee from him, irrespective of the price after 3 months, he has to buy the gold in 47,000 rupees. And we are postponing this decision to 3 months. We will see what is the thought process in that one. I hope it is clear now. Now, your thought process is the gold prices are declining. Because of the corona issue, you say the corona is now slowly going. So the gold is getting the public, there is no fear in the public. So the gold prices are declining. And you are expecting the gold will become 40,000 in 3 months. So despite paying 2,000 rupees to him, you are taking a gamble, or you can say bet, after 3 months the prices will be 40,000, but the builder has to buy in 47,000 because he has made a agreement. You have made this agreement with him. So you are assuming that despite paying 2,000 rupees to him, you will gain 5,000 rupees in 3 months only. Now, what is the jeweler thought process? Jeweler thought process is ki last 3 months the gold prices were 50,000. So he is assuming that the gold will not go to 40,000. And he is taking a thing that yeah, if the gold prices is remaining above 47,000 rupees, obviously you will not sell. So this 2,000 rupees what he is getting, that will become free income to him. That is the one thing he is taking. That is third process. Second thought process, a jeweler know that currently there is a season, marriage season is there, or maybe the festival season is there. So normally what the jeweler do, they keep an inventory. Suppose they keep an inventory of 100 kg. Now he is selling he's making money not from the capital appreciation in the gold, but mainly from the charges, whatever the gold making charges and the design charges. So his target is to earn the money from there. So normally what the jeweler do, if they sell say 5 kg gold today, they try to buy the same 5 kg so that their inventory remains the same and they are able to hedge their position. So the jeweler thought process is ki, if the price goes to down, at least I have sold my product today at 47,000 rupees. And even if I'm buying at 47,000 after 3 months, I'm happy. I have no problem. Second, he's taking a thing here, I will get some free income. So that is his thought process. Now, after 3 months, now can jeweler force you to sell the gold? The same 4 questions what we have on the upper side, the same 4 questions are here. After 3 months, can jeweler force you to sell the gold? No. Jeweler cannot force because you have taken the contract. You are given the money. He has not given the money. So you have a choice. So he cannot force you to sell. Similarly, can jeweler refuse to buy the gold? No. Jeweler cannot refuse to buy the gold because he has taken advance money from you. If you want to sell it 47,000 rupees, he has to buy it. Now, can you refuse to sell the gold? Because you have paid 2,000 rupees, you have taken the contract. So you have a choice to refuse to sell the gold. The last 4 is, can you force jeweler to buy the gold? Yes. You can you can force the jeweler to buy the gold because you have signed the contract and you have given a 2,000 rupees advance to him. Now, who has a right to sell here and who is obliged to buy? So you have a right to sell and the buyer is obliged to buy. In the first case, you had a right to buy. Here you have a right to sell. In the first case, the builder was obliged to sell and here the jeweler is obliged to buy. So this is known as put option. So in the entire our options world, there are either call option or put option. Now in call option, either you are a call seller or you are a call buyer. Similarly, in the case of put, you can be a put seller or you can be a put buyer. Now the issue is who has a better knowledge? Now I want you all to think over this. Who has a better knowledge in entire this thing? One is builder who is in this business for years in the flat business. He knows his flat costing is say 50 lakh rupees and he is putting a bet for 1 crore. He knows very well what was the cost of the construction, how much money he has spent for taking the approvals, all those things. He has a better knowledge and you are the retailer. You don't know what is the price of the say the flat is in Andheri. Now you don't know what will the real price. So he has a better knowledge. Similarly, in case of gold, the jeweler in the business of that one, he has a better knowledge. So the probability of seller gaining is very high rather than the probability of person who is buying the option. So in the first case, the probability of that flat, what the builder knows was a 75 lakh. It will not cross 1 crore, he knows very well. Even if it goes about 1 crore, he is happy because he has earned the money. And if in any case, if you are not honoring the deal, he is getting that 2 lakh rupees. Similarly, in case of jeweler, he is getting that 2,000 rupees because he has a better knowledge. He knows much more how the prices are actually moving it. There is a declining trend, but he knows. So he has a better knowledge. And we as a retailer, we have a very less knowledge what is happening in the market. So the probability of winning or probability of gain, although it is looking unfair to him, but is higher for that if we come in the actual market. Now the next issue comes, the who will take the responsibility to honor this contract. Now this is again a major issue. Now something happened in the flat case. Now can you go and fight with that builder? You cannot. And if you go to the RERA or maybe some legal court, it will take years. And then in the second case, it is a friendly arrangement between you and your jailer. Now where you will go? You have to go to the civil court. So this is the second problem when these type of arrangements are there, if there is no regulator. If there is a regulator, then we can very well say that somebody will take the responsibility. Then we'll see how further. Now this world of options, these are the minimum things which you must know if you are entering into the world of options. You should know all these things. Number one, these always trade in lot sizes. So HPCL lot is 2,700, BPCL lot is 1,800, IOC is 6,500, Reliance is 250, Nifty, which is indices, index is 75, Bank Nifty is 20. Like that, they trade only in lot shares. You can't buy one share in a lot. You can't buy 10 share of HPCL in lot. If you want to buy a lot, you have to deal in 2,700 share. Now, these are squared off in cash in indices. Every settlement, there will be the settlement months. First settlement, second month, 3 months, there are the contracts are there. So these are squared off in cash in case of indices. That means if you are buying a call option or put option on Nifty, it will always be settled in cash, but it will be always settled in case of stocks in expiration by physical settlement. That means that either you have to buy the share if you have not squared your position. Suppose you have sold or bought a call option or put option, and if you have not squared off your position, then it will be settled only in physical share. You have to either take the delivery or you have to give the delivery. But at the same time, you can square off your position anytime during the contract month. You are not required to wait till the month end. So if you are taking the position in Nifty or in shares, you can settle your position at any time before expiry of the contract. And contracts always start on the last Friday of the month. So for the March series, the contract will start from the 26th of February. The 26th is coming. There the last the contract will start for the March series. Now the contract expires on the last Thursday of the month. The February series which is going on, the contract will expire on 25th February. It always expires on last Thursday. And if it's a holiday, then it's one day earlier. Or in case of starting, it will go one day after. Then there are weekly and monthly contracts in case of indices, that is in Bank Nifty and Nifty, and monthly contracts in case of stocks. Then this concept, you should also know, there's in the money options. Options with positive cash flow. That means ki if you have taken any, say, 240 rupees call, and it has become in the money. So that means ki you will get a money from that particular option. Similarly, at the money, if that means current market price and your strike price of the call or put is same, that it will be treated as at the money option, where there will not be any cash flow. And similarly, the third one is the out of money option, the option with the negative cash flow. The price is say 220 and the price has become 240 in case of call. That means it is 20 rupees out of the money. In that case, there's a negative cash flow. No counterparty risk. Now here, when we discussed in the builder case and the gold case, there was a risk whether you will be able to force the builder really to take the flat. Suppose he says no, the price has gone to 1.5 crore. He says no, I will not give the delivery. You do whatever you want to do it. If you want, you take your 2 lakh rupees back, but I will not give the flat. Then what you will do? So the the problem is here also, but here NSE has taken the responsibility. There is no issue of any such no counterparty risk. That means whether the price of HPCL, if we are assuming we are taking a bet in HPCL, whether it goes to 400 or will go to 100, the NSE will take the responsibility that your contract will be honored. How they are doing it? They have a margin system. So they collect 2 types of margin. One is the initial margin, which is comprising of span and exposure margin, and second is the mark-to-market margin. the initial margin is around 30% of the contract value, and the mark to market will depend on the how the everyday you are losing or you are earning the profit. So the daily settlement for mark to margin will be there. If you are in profit, the money will be credited to your account. If you are in loss, the money will be going from your account. And the final settlement will take place on expiry. And NSE or your broker will require margin in option selling, not in buying. Because buying, what is happening, if we see the example of that builder, you have paid 2 lakh rupees and then you have bought an option of call option. Now, what will happen? You have bought that option in 2 lakh rupees. At the most, what will happen? The 2 lakh rupees will be forfeited. So when you are buying an option, there is no margin required. But the same the builder. Suppose the builder is also trading in the your equity market or in options, future and options. Then the NSE will take the margin from the that builder. Ki, bhaiya, you have taken this call of 1 crore rupee. So you have to give a margin of 30 lakh rupees. So even if the flat cost goes to 1.25 crore, at least the 30% margin is there. So that 30% margin you will give it to the person who is a buyer. So like that, the NSE is taking the guarantee. But at the same time, this is the reason for buying the option, there is no margin required. But for selling the options, whether the call or put, the margin will be required. Now, how you can calculate the margin? This is one of the famous calculator which everybody is using. That is Zerodha margin calculator. And this is the link about I given it. Or you can just go to the Google, just write Zerodha margin calculator. This calculator will come there. You put your prices and then you can calculate how much margin is required for taking any position. The last thing in the world of option is the F&O or financial weapon for mass destruction. Now, if you follow the discipline, then you can make money. If you don't follow the discipline, then you are destined for destruction. I know a number of persons who have taken the who have not taken or who has not followed the discipline, or who has gone for a greediness, or who has taken naked positions in particularly in the selling of the call and puts. And I've seen the so many suicide cases, and then houses will be auctioned. Everything will be there on the road. So if you are following the discipline and patience, then the same F&O will give you tons of money. But if you are not following, then you are destined for restrictions. That is what you have to remember. So the option chain, for every script, there is an option chain in the NSE website, and the link I have given there, nseindia.com/course. If you put that down and you have to put the symbol of the company, so this chain will come. So at during the trading hours, this website or this page will come. Now, if you say in this page, there are 4 portions. The 2 are the dark portion and 2 are the light portion. I will just highlight like this. So the 2 are the whiter portion and 2 are the darker portions. The first side, the left hand side is the calls and the right hand side is the puts. So all the which are in the dark side, they are in the money call. It means that when the HPCL spot price is 225, what I written on the top, HPCL spot price is 225.50. Now, as you are going, as your call prices are going lower side, 225, 220, 215. So there is you will see the prices are increasing. Your bid price and the ask price. That means the option is trading at say 220, 11 rupees and 11.40. If you go to 200 rupees, it is trading at 220, 26 rupees 70 paisa, 27.45. That means these are all in the money. So if on the expiry, this is the final prices. That means if your call is in the money, you will get the money. You will get the money from the broker. Similarly, in case of puts, it is the reverse side. If your prices is going upper side, then your put is in the money. Then again you will get the money there. So there is a positive cash flow. Out of the money call, there is a negative cash flow. Your put prices, your call prices are coming down. Similarly, in case of Out of money put prices, there's a negative cash flow, there's a typographical error there. And at the money call, there's a nil cash flow. It means that the closing price and your call or put price is same, then neither the money will be received nor the money will be paid. And similarly, at the money put, there's a nil cash flow. Now, let's come to the why option selling. Why when we are seeing that option selling is so dangerous, then why I'm proposing for option selling? Let's see. Number one, the more than 80% of your options expire worthless. If you take the statistics or if you take the data, whichever the options are being traded in the market, 80% of the options will expire worthless, but they will become zero value. So that is the reason they are known as a decaying assets. Every day their value will be coming down. If the price remains the same, assuming the price remains the same, HPCL price remains the same 225 till the month end 125, the call option which was say trading at 20 rupees today, slowly it will go down to zero value, because your at the month end both the prices has to be same. So it is known as a decaying assets. So more than 80% of the options expire worthless. Now, so what is the meaning of the 80%? That means that those who are buying the options, they have a probability of profit only 20%. 80% of the options are expiring. So out of that 80%, that means 20% there is a probability that he will make the profit. Whereas the seller, he will make 80% of the time the profit, because it's a zero-sum game. Somebody will lose, somebody will gain. But 80% the options are expiring worthless. So it means that those who are buyer of the options, there's a probability of 20%. And those who are the seller of the person, there is a probability of making profit is 80%. Now, in case of option selling, there is no need to predict the market direction. Now, we have a lot of these worries. What will happen to the market tomorrow? What will happen if something happens? But when you're selling the options, there is no need. Even if the market goes down, market goes up, we will see that how you will make money. So that means that you are independent of the market. We have that major worry when we buy a HPCL share or we buy a Reliance share or Infosys share. What will happen tomorrow? Tomorrow the market may fall, market may go up. But when you are selling options, invariably you are independent. Okay? There will be some black swan type of event may be there, but invariably you will not be impacted and you will make the money. Now, option seller will benefit from being wrong in the market direction also. Suppose you have taken a position of say that market is bullish or market is bearish, and even if you have taken a wrong position, even then you will take the money. You will make the money in case of option selling. But in case of option buying, you have to first break the first go above the break-even price. Suppose you have bought your option of say 20 rupees. That means your share price has to go beyond 20 rupees, then only you have the profit. Whereas in case of option seller, that 20 rupees will be your buffer. So that means the option seller will make the money. Now, time decay will always benefit the option seller because of the decaying assets. Every day the option is going, option prices are reducing. So obviously the seller has an edge rather than the buyer. Because buyer, the problem is that the price has to increase more than what he has put as the premium. So you can consistently make the profit month on month in case of option selling, but not in case of buying. Now, this is suitable only for disciplined traders or disciplined investors. If you are not disciplined, please don't enter into the business of option selling. If you are disciplined and patient and you want to trade only once or twice in a month, then this is suitable for you. If you think that I want everyday maja, that thrill, like future or like share, I'm selling, buying, this, I'm doing intraday trading, then this is not for you. Option selling is only for discipline, only for patience, very few trade. So it is extremely suitable for all our working class officers, those who have good money and those who have discipline. With adjustment, your winning rate was 80%, you can increase up to 90%. This adjustment I will take maybe in the next webinar, how we can do the adjustment. 80% you are guaranteed, and if you do the adjustment, even you can go up to 90%. Now, most institutional traders, FIIs, DIIs, and our friend Warren Buffett, they do the option selling. Mostly they are doing the option selling. Why they are doing option selling? Why they are not buying the options? We retailers are buying the options and they are the seller. Now the people with 10 lakhs capital can mimic FIIs, DII at least in one lot. If you have a 10 lakh rupees capital, what I discussed in the financial freedom, then you can also mimic what the FIIs, DIIs and Buffett doing. And if we read that famous book, do what rich people do. Don't do what the poor people do. And this is only for the big boys. That means your capital has to be minimum 10 lakh rupees. Then you can mimic the what FIIs and DIIs are doing, because they are doing only this thing only. So then you can enter into this world. Now options can be bought. I'm not telling the options should not be bought, but options should be bought only for hedging and not for speculation. But what is happening, 90% of the retailers, they are doing options buying for speculation. Now it is very similar to a casino. When we go to the casino, we are taking the bet, and every time we always know that out of the 10 times, I will win only one time. But I am hoping that one time will take care of my all the bets. And the house or maybe the casino owner, he knows that every deal he will make at least 10% profit. So he is slowly making the profit, and you are slowly losing the profit. Somebody is losing, some retailer is losing, somebody is making the bet is losing. But if you want to buy the options for hedging, suppose you have a portfolio of say 10 lakh rupees and you are buying a put options of Nifty, so it is for hedging. Then you know that your cost of the portfolio is increasing by 1% or 2%. There it is good. But what is happening? We are using the options, buying options for speculations. And I'm just asking one question: has any TV anchor, is recommending option selling? No, they are not recommending. Why they are not recommending? Have you ever thought why they are selling buy only? Because when we buy, then only they will make the money now. Whether you agree or not, the invariably all newspapers, all business newspapers, all TV channels, they have, I can't say openly, but they are, it appears to be in excess. I know one TV anchor in one business channel who's known as a rocket. He says कि इनका जो recommendation आता है वो तो rocket है, मतलब rocket के ऊपर जाएगा. Now I made an analysis of that person who is giving the recommendation, and the way he speak, बस अभी जाने वाला है. You just buy this share, and this share will increase by 4 rupees, 5 rupees. Take a position. Now I made an analysis of that person. Within 10 minutes, the share starts falling after giving his recommendation. Why it is? And 90% of the time, his recommendations are in the reverse side. So those who knows this person now, they know his person is linked to an operators. So whenever he will give a recommendation, they will take the opposite position, and they are making the money now. Those who knows about this is modus operandi. But as a retailer, the person who is sitting in Kota or maybe sitting in Ajmer or sitting in maybe Tamil Nadu, he is not knowing that what is happening in this product. And I'm telling you, why nobody is recommending it? Newspaper, you can see everybody talk about the buy. All brokerage house, they say buy. Everybody say buy. And who are the suckers? We as the retailers are the suckers. We buy and they make the money. Option selling is extremely simple to understand, monitor, and no complex strategies. Now, this is the issue which I am facing with. I get every day 10 to 15 calls or WhatsApp messages, please recommend some good shares. Now the issue is when I know it is 100% gambling and there's a probability of win is 50% of going up and going down, how do I know what is going to happen tomorrow? Or anybody is by that better, not only me, anybody. Now, how do you know what will happen tomorrow? So it is a 50% gamble. Now, how can I recommend to my friend or my member, Bhaiya, you go and buy so-and-so share, when I myself don't know what is going to happen tomorrow, whatever knowledge I may be having. So why don't I suggest a strategy where there is at least 80% guarantee that I will make money? So I should recommend or I should educate such a thing by which you become the independent, and there is a probability of 80% of winning, and then you become independent. and then no need of taking any tip or any recommendation or something like that. So the buyer is always a gambler, like a retail. We are all a retail customers. We all are the retail investors. We are the basically a gambler, and this all print media, all your TV channels, they are making us a gambler indirectly. Whether we agree or not, we agree. We are becoming a gambler, and they are inducing us to buy. Hardly there is any recommendation for sell. And when they are recommending for sell also, they have their operation in mind. Now, all FIIs and DIs are seller. I'm talking about options right now. Now, because they have a knowledge, they have experience, they have a skill, and they have capital. So just think for a moment, if you are buying an option, then anybody can buy. Your son can also buy. He is a 10-year-old, or your say housewife, she doesn't know anything. She can also buy an option of HPCL or Reliance or anybody. No brain is required. But if you want to sell an option, you need knowledge, you need your experience, skill, and capital. That means you have a suppose corporate knowledge, you have a corporate experience, you know the mathematics, you know all the algorithm, you can use all this knowledge. So you will feel happy. I'm telling you, you will really feel yes, I am doing something because of my knowledge. I'm not simply a gambler. So I'm buying an option. When you're selling option, you have to use all this skill. So that is give the immense satisfaction. Again, I'm repeating the possibility of unlimited loss in naked short positions. In the selling of options, if you are taking naked positions in selling, there's a possibility of unlimited loss. But at the same time, with covered model, you can define as well as control your risk. So if in the option selling, if you have a covered model, that means you have taken covered model in call as well as put, then you can make the money. But if you are taking naked position, and which some of the retailers I've seen, they become the greedy. When they say, every month I'm making money by covered model, why don't I double the position and I sell double the quantity? That means the 2 position is has, the 2 position is not has. He can make money for 2 months, 3 months, but 1 month will come when he will lose everything. So make it a rule, make it a principle. If I am entering in this world, I will go only by the covered model. Then you can achieve our financial freedom. Now we'll see. Okay, now we are coming to the strategies part. So first strategy is the covered call strategy. Now the strategy is selling a call on a stock you own to collect the rent or premium every month, or sell stock at higher target price. So here you have a two target. One is you want to collect the rent, or you want to sell your stock at a higher target price. If you see that psychology, what we were talking earlier, I want to get a monthly rental, or when I'm buying the share, I want to have a higher target at this price, my stock should be sold. Now, assuming I'm taking the same example which I have taken in the last webinar, and HPC, when I'm talking about the HPC, I'm just telling you it is just for education purpose. Neither I'm recommending nor I am recommending for sale. It is just for strategies. Please remember. So suppose the HPC current market price is 225. Lot size is 2,700. So investment required is how much? 225 into 2,700. That is 6,07,500. Again, I'm repeating. If you don't have this money, if you don't have the capital of 10 lakh rupees, please don't enter into this business. If you have, then only please come. Otherwise, you can go for normal 100 or 50 shares, whatever you are doing it. But here, if you want, then this much money is required. So what is your target? Now you have bought a 225 and you have fixed a target. I want to sell my shares at 250. That means 25 rupees profit, or I want a rental. Now, when you are selling at 25 rupees profit, then 25 into 2,700 you have to calculate. So that is your profit you are targeting, or you want some rental should come from this investment. Let's see. So what you will do, you will sell 240 call. Are you not getting voice? Can you write on the chat box? if you have a problem in the voice, getting na? Yeah. Okay. Thank you. So your target was 25 rupees profit. So you have selling 240 call, that is 240 call option. A call option, the strike price is 240 in rupees 10. Then 240 or 10, 250 and 250 was your target. So you fix your target. You are selling you have decided that my initial target was 25 rupees. Accordingly, you are selling your call in 240 with a premium of 10 rupees. You will see that option chain analysis, option chain, and you will see where I'm getting a 10 rupees profit. I will sell that option, and it is coming assuming it 240 rupees. Now there will be either of these two scenario on expiry at the month end. You have taken this deal, 240 call you have sold. Now in the scenario number 1, if the expiry price is less than 240, say 220, what you have done is you have sold 240 call option, and then in the scenario number 1, your expiry price is less than 240, assuming it is 220. It can be in any price, 210, 230, anything, but it is less than 240 because 240 is our call price. So what you will gain, because when the price will go less than 240, your call will become, your option will become worthless. It will become zero because the person who has bought, he has assumed that the price will go above 240, but the price will remain less than 240. So your gain in the call is 10 into 2,700, that is 27,000 rupees you have gained. Your shares are retained and you have received the rent of 27,000 rupees. And again, you will repeat this cycle next month. Now, what is your gain? It is 4.4% per month. 27,000 divided by 6,07,500, which was our investment. It is gain of 4.4% per month, that is 60% per year. And what we were targeting, 2% per month, or 1.75% by the wealthiest person in the world, Warren Buffett. 1.75%, here I am getting 4.4% because you have taken the decision of 240 call and the price is less than 240. Now this is scenario number 1. This is scenario number 2. Expiry price is more than 240. The price can go up or down. I don't know what will happen after 20 days or 25 days or 1 month. Now on the expiry, when your contract is expiring, if the price has gone more than 240, say 260, or it can be 300, anything. Suppose it is 260. You have to then sell your shares. What you have bought at 225, you have to sell your share in 260 since the price has gone to 260. So what will be your loss in the call? Loss in the call will be, since you have sold 240 call and since you have to square at 260, so your net loss will be 240 minus 260 the current price, and 10 rupees what the premium you have received. So your net loss is minus 10 rupees. And what is your gain in shares? Gain in shares is 260 is the current price when the your contract was expired, and you bought at 225. So your gain is 35 rupees. And what is your net gain? 35 minus the loss in gain, that is 10 rupees, 25. So 25 into 2,700 is 67,500. What is your percentage gain? 11.1%. Now 11.1% is equal to 2 years gain. Friends, 2 years FD return will not give 11%. Here you are getting 11% return in 1 month. Now see, the price goes down, you are making a profit. Price goes up, you are making a profit. Now then, why should I buy only a HPC as a 100 share or 200 share? And why I will buy 10 different scripts to diversify? Everybody will say diversify. Make 5 different mutual fund SIPs. Why I will do it? I will take only 1 lot of HPCL if I have a 10 lakh rupees in my account, and I will do this deal. Market goes down, HPCL goes down, I am making 4.4%. HPCL goes above 240, I am making 11%. Now, can you get me any such deal in the market? Now, why the public or why the TVs or why these operators are not suggesting these strategies to us? Because if you do this thing, then how they will make the money? And this is all your FIAs are doing. This is all your DIs are doing, because they have a huge capital. They have a lot of position in HPCL and all these major shares. So they sell the call and we buy the call, in the hope that price will go above 250. So whatever the gain will be above 250, I will make the money. Now here, the person who is bought, he will make the profit only when the HPC goes above 250, because his cost is 240 plus 10, 250. So it goes above 240, 250, then only he will gain. But I'm not interested what he is doing, what he is not doing. I am interested in my profit. So share goes down 4.4%, share goes up 11.1%. Now here the issue is one, which somebody may raise. If HPC falls more than 10 rupees, now 10 rupees was what? My premium. If it falls more than 10 rupees from 225, then I will have a notional loss. Similarly, if HPC increases more by 250 rupees, I will miss the rally. This issue is there. But the issue again, I'm talking about the discipline. I decided when I bought a share, my target is 250. Now, why should I bother ki HPC goes to 500? Let it go to 500. I'm not bothered. I wanted my 11% profit. And I want every month. I don't want ki only once in a month. Once in a blue moon, HPCL may go from 225 to 500 in 1 month. But out of the, say, 5 years, 1 or 2 months it will go, but baki balance 48 months, it will not go. But I want money 48 months. So I want to sell the call, covered call. Similarly, even if the HPC is going less than 10 rupees, now just you compare with the person who has just taken a position at 225 without this covered call. His loss will start from the 1 rupee, where 225 to 240, he will lose 1 rupee. 220, he will lose 5 rupees. But you have a cushion of 10 rupees here. So 10 rupees is your break-even price. Even if falls, we have a strategy what we can do. So if you want to calculate your actual sale price when you are buying any position, what you have to do? You have to just add call strike price plus the premium received. So when you taken a position at 225, what was the call strike price? Call strike price was 240. What is the premium you received? 10 rupees. That means your actual sale price will always be 250 irrespective of the price. This is the formula. And your maximum profit will always be call strike price minus CMP plus premium received. What is the call strike price here? 240. What is the CMP? 225. What is the premium received? 10. So if you do this calculation, this is your maximum profit possible in the covered call strategy. I hope it's clear to all of you. Now, this is the Excel file which I have created for covered call strategy, and this I will be uploading in the YouTube. My request is to you download this file from there, and then you do the calculation. Now you have to just put the 4 figure what I put in this blue color. Name of your script, whichever HPCL I put, you can put any of your script, whichever you like, whether Infosys or Reliance or BPCL. You to just put current market price, lot size, call strike price, and the premium. Then all this calculation will come from this file there. Now we'll come to the second strategy, that is cash secured put. Now here the strategy is selling a put on a stock you wish to buy to collect the rent every month, or buy the stock at discount at lower target price. So in the covered call, what we had option, what we had a target, okay, I should get a rent, number one, and I should sell the stock at the higher target price. In case of put, I have a target of collecting the rent or buying the stock at a lower target price. HPC is currently at 225. I want to buy a lower target price, so I have a better break-even price. Okay, let's see the same example. So HPC current market price at 225, and you want to buy a 15% discount, that is say 192 rupees. Now you have 2 options. Either you wait, and if the price come to 192, you buy. Then you can, your target is met. But the issue is then you will not get the rental income. I want the rent also. Not only I want to buy at 192, I want to buy a rental income also. So we'll see how this strategy we can use. Number one, cash required is 192 because you want to buy at 192 into 2,700, that is 5,18,400. Again, I'm cautioning you, if you don't have this 5,18,400 on account, please do not touch this strategy. Do not touch this strategy. This is one of the most dangerous strategy, but at the same time, one of the most beneficial strategy. So if you have this money, only then only this touch, otherwise don't come near to this strategy. Okay. So what you will do, you will sell 200 put in rupees. I assume the premium is 8 rupees. So you will sell 8 rupees, and how you fix the target of 192? The 200 rupees minus 8 is your net price is 192. So you are selling the 200 put and you are getting an 8 rupees premium. So your net price is 192. So that is our equation. Now again here will be the two scenarios, scenario 1 and scenario 2. We'll see what will happen in these scenarios. In scenario 1, now your expiry price is more than 200. You have taken a bet on what? You have taken a bet on 200 put price. When the price are 225, you have taken a bet at 200 rupees. Now the price is above 200 rupees. That strike price is above the 200 rupees, say 220. So the put what you have sold, it will become worthless for the buyer. So it will gain for the seller, and you are a seller. So what is the gain to you? Gain will be 8 rupees into 2,700, that is 21,600 you will gain in this scenario. If the price remain above 200, any price, even the 200 also, 200 to above any price your HPC remain, you will gain your 21,600. So what will happen because of this? Your cash is retained because you have received your rental and your shares are not assigned. You have received the rent and you have to repeat the cycle every month. Now what is the gain here? Again 4.2%. How we are calculated? 21,600 divided by 5,08,400. That is your gain. That is your 4.2% monthly gain. That is 50% per year. And again, what was our target? 1.75 or 2%. You are getting more than double the return if the price is remaining above. Now we'll see what will happen if the price goes less than 200 rupees. Suppose on the expiry, the price of HPC goes to 180 rupees. It is quite possible. Then you have to buy the HPCL share at 180 rupees. If it go to 150, you have to buy at 150. Whatever the price goes, you have to buy at that price. So what will be your loss in the put? Loss in the put will be at what the price you have bought, because the call and put your expiry prices will become the same. So the loss in the put will be 180 minus 200. 200 rupees is what is the strike price, and 8 rupees is you have gained the put premium. So your net loss in the put will be minus 12 rupees. So your HPCL net price will be what? 180 you have bought in the second line. HPCL bought 180. So 180 plus 12, that is 192 rupees. What is the discount you have got? 192 divided by 225, 14.7% discount. That means that when you taken this position, you will either gain 4.2% or you will gain a discount. You will buying the share of HPCL at 14.7%. Now, why should I buy HPCL today at 225 rupees? Somebody can explain to me this thing. I have a money 5 lakh rupees assuming. I will simply sell the cash secured put. There will be two scenarios. Either I will gain 4.2%, which is almost 1 year my FD return after taxes, or I will get the share at 14.7% discount. So you can see what is my safety, almost 15%. A person who is a retailer who is simply buying HPCL because of the buyback news or this and that, operators news, you are buying at 225, but I am buying at 15% discount. So obviously I have an edge on everybody, but nobody will tell you this strategy to you. Because if the broker will tell this strategy, then you will do only once in a month this strategy. And how he will earn? He will earn only when you do everyday trading. And how the operator will make the money then. So this strategy, nobody is going to explain to you. Nobody will discuss this strategy. Now here the thing is, if the HPC goes below the put strike price, you have to buy HPC at the put strike price irrespective of the fall. Whether the HPC goes to 150 or HPC goes to 100 rupees, your buying price will remain 192 only. And if it goes above 225, because you have not bought any share, your cash is lying with you, although you gain 4.2%, but you will miss the rally. So this is the issue here. So how will calculate the actual buy price? That is the put strike price, that is our 200 minus the premium received, that is 8 rupees, that is 192 is my actual buy price irrespective of the market. And the maximum profit will be what is the premium received, that is the maximum profit, that is the rental income. That is the maximum. This is the cash secured strategy. Now again, the same I put in the Excel, which I will upload in the YouTube, and you can download this thing. Again, you can just put this figure given in the blue, and this all the calculations will come automatically. Now, this is the third strategy, which is a combination of covered call and covered put. Now here the strategy is the selling of call and put to collect both the rents. That means the call rent also and the put rent also. Or buy stock at much lower target price, or sell the stock at much higher target price than our covered call and covered put. So here the strategy, I have combined both, and my target is also a lower target price for buying and the higher target price of the selling. Let's see how. Again, the same HPC 225. Here you should have a 2,700 shares in your hand. Then only you can go for the strategy. So your target sale will be 258. What was in a covered sale target? It was 250, 225 to 250. We wanted to have a 25 rupees profit. Here your target is increased by another 8 rupees. So here your target sale price is 258. Similarly, in case of buy, in case of covered put, we had a target of 192. Here the target price is 182. So that means your target buy is reduced from 192 to 182, and your target sale is increased from 250 to 258. But here the requirement is that you should have a shares in hand. That is your 6,07,500 for 225 shares, assuming that you are buying at 225. If you bought at lower price, then it's a different issue. I am assuming that at current price you're buying, that's 6,07,500 is the cash required for 2,700, and cash in hand for your covered put position, that is 4,91,400. How it's calculated? 182 into 2,700. So total funds required is 10,98,900. If you have this fund, then only enter into this strategy. Otherwise, please do not. So what you will do here, the same 240 call you will sell in 10 rupees premium, what we sold in covered call, and you will sell the same 200 put in 8 rupees premium, what we have done in the covered put. So here we are taking both the position together, and we are covered from the cash for the covered call, from the covered put, and from the share for the covered call. If you have this, then you are taking the strategy. Now here there will be 3 scenarios. Earlier in both the cases there will be 2 scenarios. Here there will be the 3 scenarios. Scenario 1, if the expiry price is between the call strike price and the put strike price, that is 200 and 240. What was our call strike price? 240. What was our put strike price? Was 200. So if the price is between 200 and 240, any price, 220, 230, 210, 240 or 200, any price between 200 or 240, both the call and put will become worthless on expiry because you are the seller. So how much you will gain? You will gain in call by the full 10 rupees, that is 27,000, and you will gain in put, that is 8 rupees, that is 21,600. Your shares are retained with you because your call has expired worthless. Your cash is also retained because your put is expired worthless. So you have received 2 rent, and you repeat this cycle next time. Nothing has happened to your position. Your share remains with you, your cash remains with you, and you have received the amount of 48,600, which is 4.4% per month, equivalent to 52% per year. So if you have a 10 lakh rupees, you can do this strategy and you will gain 4.4% in case of scenario number 1. Now here the beauty is this, at the month end, either the price will be up or price will be down. It can't have both the things. So at least one rental, so guaranteed you will come. Even if the price goes to less than 200 or price goes above 240, because price cannot be less as well as more at the time of expiry. So one is guaranteed. So, okay, this was scenario 1. Now let's come to scenario number 2. If the expiry price is above 240, say 260, same what we have considered in the covered call. If the price goes above 240, what will happen? You have to sell your shares at 260 because you have bought at 225, you sell your shares. So what will be your loss in the call? Call will be 240 minus 260 because the price has now become 260 plus 10 rupees what you received in the premium. So your net loss is 10 rupees in call. But you will gain in the put entire 8 rupees because the price has gone above your 200 rupees put price. So your total 8 rupees is a gain in put. And you are, since you sold your share at 260, so your gain in HPCL share is 260 minus 225. You bought at 225. You are selling at 260, so your net gain is 35. So what is your all put together gain? That is minus 10 from the call, plus 8 from the put, and from the HPC sale 35 rupees. So total gain is 33 rupees into 2,700, that is 89,100. 89,100 is 8.1%. Friends, the person who has retired, if he earns every month 89,100, do you think whether he's required to do anything else? Why should I look for any job? Why should I look for any consultancy? And what I have done is I have taken only one transaction in the beginning of the month. I have sold one call and I sold one put, and 89,400. Either I'm getting 48,600 or I'm getting 89,100. Why should I go and work again? So this is the scenario number 2. Now let's talk about scenario number 3. Now the expiry price is suppose less than 200, that is 180, what we considered in the put. Now here you have to buy the HPC shares at 180 because the price has fallen from 200. So your gain in call will be the entire 10 rupees because the share is less than the 240 rupees. So your gain in the call is full 10 rupees. The full 10 rupees premium is become yours. But you will lose in the put. How much you will lose in the put? 180, because the HPC price is now 180. 200 was your bet. So, and plus 8 rupees is the what you had received as the premium. So your net loss is minus 12 rupees. So what is becoming your net HPCL buying price? The 180 you bought plus 12 rupees is 180 plus 12, it becomes 192. I think some calculation error. So here you are getting percentage discount of 19.1%. No, 180 minus 10 plus 12 is 2 rupees. So you are getting the share price as 182, whereas it was you are getting earlier in 192. So discount you are getting 19%. When you are doing only covered put only, you are getting a discount of 14%. You are getting a discount of 19%. So the 3 scenario, either first scenario 4.4% gain, second scenario 8.1% gain, third scenario you are getting HPCL share in 182 rupees. So actual sale price you can calculate by this formula: call strike price plus call premium plus put premium, that is your actual sale price, and actual buy price will be the put price minus call premium minus put premium. You can straight away calculate your target prices, actual sale price, or you can say the target price. Now this is again the Excel sheet which I will upload. You have to just fill this data, and then you can calculate your all these calculations. Say 19.1%, 4.4%, 8.1% profit. All this will come automatically. Just put your name of the share, it will come. Now how to implement covered strategy, that we'll see. Number 1, if you are convinced of these strategies, again I'm telling you, if you are really convinced and you know if I can make money from either direction, share going down I'm making money, share going up I'm making the money, or I'm getting the share at a substantial discount. If you are convinced, then please review your all existing stocks and mutual funds portfolio, and then sell all your shares. Nobody will tell you this thing. Sell all your shares in mutual funds and convert to F&O lot size in 1 or 3 skips only. Preferably in the fundamentally strong shares. Fundamentally strong share, your return may be not 4%, but return will be 3%, 2%. But you go initially with the fundamentally strong shares. But ensure that your requirement is 10 lakhs per lot per script. Now you will say, why I should sell all my shares? But then from where you will bring the money? Then you can do only with 1 lot. Suppose you want to trade in 4 lot. Then you have to ultimately the same portfolio, you have to restructure your portfolio. Now here you just assume, suppose you have a portfolio of say 20 shares. Now you are selling those 20 shares and you are converted into say 3 shares. So you will say, I will wait. When you are selling today, you are buying again today. So same thing is happening today. So at 50,000 index, you are buying say HPCL and you're selling BPCL, it is same thing. Or you are selling HPCL or BPCL, you are buying, it is the same thing. Because both the shares will go together up and down. Similarly, if the Reliance, so invariably, it is just our mental block when we want to sell the share. So when you have a big portfolio, as I said earlier, it is a cancer. And it is eating your profit, eating your everything. And you are not getting return also. So please review all your shares, and whichever 3 shares you like, whichever 2 shares you like, Reliance or Infosys or SCL Technology or maybe Hindustan Lever or maybe HPCL, BPCL, convert into the 3. So at least you will start getting your monthly rental. And if you are selling your shares, then your return is very. Now, after you converted your lots, maybe 1 or 3 scripts, then you decide your target sell price. Target sell price, what was the formula I had given? Call plus call premium plus put premium. So that is your target sell price. And buy price will be put strike price minus call premium minus put premium. That is your target buy price. Now, you should sell your options in the first week prior to start of next month series. The meaning of this is the March series is starting from 26th of February. Now, from 1 week prior to 26th February, that means something around from Monday to Thursday, that is from 22nd to 25th, you will get the best prices for selling. Because all the public who are the gamblers, who are all the operators, they will switch their positions. So prices of the options are very high during this 1 week. And then from this 1 week, the prices will start declining. Now you will say, why 1 week? Why not 2 weeks? I can buy the 2 week in advance also. I can do the 3 weeks in advance also. The problem in the stock is the liquidity is less. In the indices, you can do it. But in the stocks, suppose HPCL or BPCL or IOC, if you want to sell any option 2 weeks earlier, there will not be any liquidity. There will not be any buyer or seller. Or the gap, the spread will be very high. So ideal is 1 week prior to the start of the next month series. And you should exit in 1 week before expiry. Now, why I'm telling this? Number one is the new margining system. Now, new margining system as per the NSE is that from the Monday, that means from 22nd, 23rd, 24th, 25th, that is Monday to Thursday, last week, your margin requirement will increase substantially. Initially, the margin requirement will be 25-30%, but from Monday, it will become 35, then Tuesday, it will become 50, then Wednesday, it will become 75, and on the last day, it will become 100%. That means 100% your margin has to be there, then only you can sell. And the possibility of violent move is very high during the last 1 week because of the operators. So it is always better you leave something to the public. So 90% of the profit you will earn before starting of the last week. So I always square my position at least 3-4 days in advance. So number one advantage is my margin will release, and that margin I can use for selling of the next month. Suppose I have taken a position in February, assuming. So what I will do, I will square my position by 19th of February. So my margin will release. Now from 20th to 24th of the February, I will sell the March options because I'm getting the higher price. And like your cycle will be repeated. Now the prices you will get from this link, the option chain, all the prices of any stock, whichever you want, you can observe. So now you will sell, call and put to collect both call and put premium, and it will give you a wider breakdown. Because your breakdown when earlier initial was 10 rupees in case of call, put it was 8 rupees. Now both have combined. So 18 rupees has become your break even. So even if the HPCL fall up to 18 rupees, you will not lose. Similarly, in case of put, in case of call, if it increase more than up to 18 rupees, there's no issue. In case of put, if it fall more than up to 18 rupees, there's no issue. You will make the profit. Now, if price remains in between call strike price and put strike price on expiry, retain both the premiums and original shares and cash is retained. If price goes above call strike price, you sell your shares and be happy because your target is achieved. Your profit will be some around 10 to 12%. Similarly, price falls below put strike price because you have a cash position available. You buy the shares at a discount at around 20% and be happy. And since your position is covered, don't get disturbed by the volatility. Let anything happen to the market. I'm not bothered because I have my position is covered. Whether the share goes down or whether the share goes up. If the share goes up, I will sell my position. I will make 11% profit. If the share comes down, I will buy the share. I will get a 20% discount. So I'm covered from both the positions. That means that I am not will be influenced or disturbed, or my psychology will not be disturbed by the violent move that is happening in the market. Let anything happen. Let the China attack or let China do anything or let Corona come and Corona go. I am covered my position. I will make my profit. So that is the beauty of this covered strategies. But if you are not following this thing, then remember, it is a weapon for mass destruction. Now, if you want only the rental income, suppose you say, I don't want to part from my holding of say HPCL share, then what you should do, you select your OTM price slightly far. So rather than when you must have seen when the HPC price was 225, you sold the call of 240 and you got 10 rupees. So in such case, you sell 260 call, or you can sell 280 call. Now, as the prices will go up, your premium will reduce. Let it be, but at least you are guaranteed to get at least 1% rental income. 1% is almost equal to 12%. So your shares are retained with you, and the possibility of departing with your shares is very, very less. That means your share remain with you, you go for. So initially, what I will recommend to all of you, initially you sell far OTM only. Don't sell near OTM prices or ATM prices. Once you become comfortable, yes, I'm making money in 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, then you can try a near OTM or ATM prices. Initially, you sell 20% far away. Let the return be 2% or maybe 1% per month. But whatever is coming is a free income. Na? This is my one thing. Always love profit, not the share. And this is the disease, I will say. This is the disease we all have. We love our share so much. And we proudly say, for last 20 years, I'm keeping HPCL with me. For last 15 years, the BPC is my holding. Is BPC is giving something to me other than that annual dividend of 2% or 3%? But if the same if I love the profit, then I should not bother about the share. First month, HPC has gone above 250. I'll give the delivery. I'll start selling the put. Then the same share will come back to me. So you're churning your holding and you're earning profit. So you must love the profit, not the share. Don't get married to your shares. And invariably, this is the issue with everybody. They love the share. They are so attached with their holdings that they are not willing to sell the share. And they are losing all this opportunity. Now, this is the one strategy which I not discussed last time. This is known as the wheel strategy. This is again for a disciplined investor. What you will do in the first month? You will sell cash secured put. I'm assuming that you have a cash of say 5 lakh rupees. Then only you will go for secured put. So first month under the wheel strategy for disciplined investor, you will sell cash secured put. Suppose you are starting from tomorrow, assuming. So first, please start with a cash secured put, and you don't have any position, but you have only cash. Now, if the share price goes above your strike price, you will receive your rent because your put will become worthless. Correct? So you repeat your cycle again next month. You received your rent for that particular month, the return of 4% or 3%, whatever it may be. And you should be happy because my cash is returned. My cash is with me only, and I received my rent. And now you can repeat the same cycle in the next month. Now, if the price goes down, price has gone up, the price may go down also. Then your shares are assigned to you. Because the price has gone down, you have to take the delivery, otherwise you will incur a loss. So you have taken the delivery because the shares are assigned to you. Now, what will you do next? After this month, your share is assigned to you because the price has fallen down. So next month, what will you do? You will sell the covered call because now you have the shares with you. HPCL, you have taken the delivery at 192 because the 200 put you had sold in 8 rupees. So your net price was 192. So now you sell the covered call of 200 or 210, 220, whatever you can decide as per your target, you will sell the covered call. Now what can happen? HPCL price may remain less than that your target price. That covered call strike price. If it is remain down, then you will get your rent. What is the premium you receive, that become your rent. That's you have received your rent. And then again you repeat the cycle every month again. Every month you will start getting the rental from the covered call. Because you have the shares with you, you don't have the cash now with you. So you are repeating this cycle. In case the price goes up, it from 192, it goes to again say 225. So you will lose your shares because you have to give the delivery. because you are gaining now 10 to 11% because it has gone to higher. And again, you will come to the, because now you have the sold the share, you have the cash. Again, you will start with the put. That means you are first starting with the put. Either you are getting rental or you are getting share. Then you are selling your call. Either you are getting rental or you are getting delivery. Then again, you are repeating the second. So this is a wheel strategy. This is applicable for if you have a cash equivalent to one lot. Now, suppose you say, I have a cash equivalent to two lot. I have a, say, 15 lakh rupees, which is equal to two lot. What I will do? So this is the ultimate wheel strategy. Requirement is cash for two lots. In the first step, what you will sell one cash secured put. You have a cash for two lots, but you are selling only one cash secured put. If the stock goes up, your put will expire. You are getting one premium. That is one rental you have received. If the stock goes down, your put is assigned to you. You got one rental and you have received the stock. Now the next step, what you will do? You will sell one call and one put next month. This is the second step. One call, one put. Now the stock goes up, your put expires and your call is assigned because the price has gone up and put is become worthless. So you have received now three premium, two premium from the second step. First premium, one premium was the one step. So you receive total three premiums now. And if the stock goes down, the call expires and the put is assigned. So you have now three premium you received and you received two stocks, two lots. First lot from the step number one and second lot from the second number two. Now this is the final step. That is the third step. Now, since you have a two lots, now you will sell two calls. You will not sell the put now. You will sell two calls. If stock goes up, the call is assigned. You are given the delivery, but you received five premiums. One, step one, two from the step two, and another two from the step number three. So you have received 5 times of rental. And if the stock goes down, your call is expires worthless. So you receive the same 5 premium and your two long stock remains with you. Then you will repeat this selling the two calls every month till these shares are sold. So every month you will be getting two rentals. So this is the strategy but the requirement is two lots. To sum up all this thing, derivatives are financial instruments with infinite opportunities. Here you can really use your brain. You can use your analytical power. You can use your capital. You can use everything. Hundreds of possibilities are there. There are hundreds of strategies are there, but we have concentrated only 3, which are giving the maximum money. But there are n number of opportunities are available. So use options intelligently with discipline and patience to make consistent money. If you violate any of these two, discipline or patience, then there's a problem. If you are following these two, you will make consistent money. You will earn more than 2%. One day you will be wealthier than wealthiest person in the world. But that depends on the discipline and the patience. So wealth is always created slowly but consistently. You can create the wealth, but it will not become overnight, which is the problem, which is the new generation now. They want to create the wealth overnight, and in the process, the wealth is totally going. So if you are slowly creating your wealth, it will be made, but consistently you can make. So this was all about my presentation. Any questions? I am opening the forum. I'm unmuting everybody, and then you can ask your questions.
Yes, sir. This is